My name's Richard, and I've taken a plunge into the wild side of life, and I'm inviting others to come along. I found myself 40 years old, single, and not enjoying life. I was a somewhat successful realtor, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. So I started to ask myself, what if I did all those things that I wanted to do when I was younger? Things like learning how to work with horses, learning how to pack horses out in the wilderness, how to do survival type stuff, bushcraft, and a biggie, how to leave conventional houses and go live off grid. So I sold my house, and I had some property, a bunch of sagebrush and rocks, and that's where I've been. It's been a gradual process. The way I started was thinking that I had to use an RV. That seems like a simple way to get into it. That was sure wrong. But I bought an RV for $2,500, drove it to Texas, and had the time of my life. Just me and my dogs with no plans, just going wherever I felt like. But when I was driving that RV, nothing worked in it. Maybe a few things, but it's so complicated getting it figured out. I mean, unless you go buy a $50,000 one brand new. But also, for instance, the stove had 4 burners and an oven. I needed 1 burner. And when I ran out of propane, I used an alcohol stove and a paint can. So I didn't even need 1 burner of propane. And there's just all this space I wasn't using. So I decided for traveling, an RV was even excessive, because there's simpler ways to go about it. And then I bought a horse trailer that I could haul my horses and stay in the trailer. And in the summertime, I ended up just staying in that because I didn't care to stay inside anyway. And horse trailers have room for a queen-sized bed, so it was plenty comfortable. I cooked on a single propane burner and had my queen-sized bed with my comforters, and I was living the life. I stayed in Oregon. I stayed on a creek in Washington with my horses and my dogs. Then I took that down to Texas the next winter and stayed in that when I got back. Then I bought an old hay wagon that somebody put a shed on top of. No insulation, and just a wood stove, propane burner in the summer. I just started to learn that all these things we're told we need in the housing industry just isn't necessary. I've been spending this whole winter in an uninsulated shed. When I stay warm enough, I keep the door open a lot of times. So life's been simpler. And the more I do it, the better I get at it. And I'm going to share some tips that I've learned.